and I'm looking sideways like this. You may see me doing this because I have important stuff now on both screens. Usually I get it all on one, but I'm kind of splitting it, so I apologize if it looks strange. Anyway, this is session 2 of Mutant Year Zero for the Gauntlet Sundays, and this is a game from Freelingen. It's all Swedish to me. Anyway, it's a game I just finished up a long campaign of, and I really dig it. And so we're trying it. We're using Roll20, which has an interesting macro for it. Has some custom character sheets. And so what we're going to do is today we've got a little bit of a switch out of characters because Dink and Durango are ill in game. Out of game, they're doing other things. And we're introducing Baldanders, the Enforcer, played by Max. So let me have our other two, our established characters, Jin and Tula, do quick introductions of themselves. I'll have Baldanders introduce himself, and we'll get those relationship and NPC questions done. So let's start with Jin, the Gearhead.
Okay, Jin is a gearhead. She's a human plant, which means that she can, she has basically bark skin that helps protect her, and she also can bring up thorns that are sort of laying like flat at the time, almost like quills of a porcupine. And so she's a gearhead, so she fixes things. That's her primary thing. She grins a lot. She tends to be a happy person, probably because she can get sustenance from the sun, whereas everybody else is always struggling. And she wears goggles on a regular basis. She has wiry hair. She pulls it back. And she wears bicycle chains up both of her arms. And she has an LED headlamp that she carries with her.
Awesome. What was the other thing I was going to ask you? And you have what does the gas mask actually look like? Is it real conventional? Is it real old style? Have you got it painted or decorated or anything?
Let's see. I think I managed to find an image that had it.
Oh.
Let's see. Come on. Unfortunately, I can't share with you all. But you can all go to my character.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
put it in the character sheet.
Okay. So real classic, big, like it's like a little bit painted up, one of those sort of chemical workshop ones. Okay. Nice big filters. Awesome. All right. And let's hear about Tula the Stalker.
Yeah, so Tula the Stalker is one of the few people in the arc that isn't attached to any of the bosses. This was because there was a big tumult and one of the bosses died, and there was a bunch of people changing hands. But she lives in this sort of broken part of the wall of this factory that we live in, and if it's okay, I wanted to have like the other stalkers generally live up there as well.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, that way they all, and like that's part of their rotation is staying up and watching the town that's nearby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so go ahead.
I was going to say maybe today we can establish a couple more of the stalkers, get who they are and what they do and so on.
But she is this sort of skinny, lithe woman that, you know, if it weren't the apocalypse, may have actually been attractive, but she's just sort of skin and bones, and she's kind of has this very business personality. Her signature piece of clothing are these sort of reinforced lading pants that sort of protect her from the rot, or at least she thinks it does.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Is there anything distinctive about those pants?
I mean, they're like the overall style, like rubber and Kevlar stuff.
Are they intact? Did they come that way, or did you have to build it out of the tire material?
I imagine that they're mostly intact.
Okay.
Like it was a good find.
Probably set your course in life once you were able to get that. Awesome. All right, so tell us about Baldanders, the Enforcer.
Sure. So Baldander's the Enforcer is a big kind of hulking guy, receding hairline, kind of a little bit balding, but the hair that he does have is kind of just scraggly, long, kind of kind of tied back. But he's kind of just got these like gaunt, just dead eyes, like he's seen too much and been exposed to too much, and he's just kind of a distant person, not super affable, kind of quiet most of the time. He's got like a long, dirty, scraggly beard and a bunch of scars kind of on his face and neck. He's a big guy, but he's certainly not like defined. He's kind of just bulky or massive. And I think in his mutation is that he has extreme reflexes. So, but I kind of see that his body doesn't like respond well. I kind of see it like his muscles are like he can work really quickly, really like occasionally, but his body kind of is like the strain of it doesn't suit his body. Like he doesn't like pushing himself, and as he walks around, you can kind of see that is like he kind of has like one shoulder a little higher than another, and he's kind of like walking. He just doesn't look like a lithe or a fast person until all of a sudden he like does something really out of character, and he just moves very quickly. Or like you probably people have seen him use his extreme reflexes a couple times, but afterwards he seems to kind of like the rest of his body didn't quite cope with how quickly he moved. So I see him as kind of just like bodily awkwardness as a response to this mutation. I see him kind of dressed like everyone else, more or less, with these kind of dirty coveralls, but I kind of see him maybe having found like a tarp or some kind of larger like burlap and kind of working some like tire pieces onto it. So maybe like a post-apocalyptic kind of brigandine armor where it kind of fits over his coveralls and kind of has tire bits and like the kind of key places that you would need it to be. And I think that he's kind of a go-to person. He's not the guy who you would have leading an expedition, but he's certainly someone you want on any expedition or on any tasks that requires lugging stuff around or keeping someone safe. Like he's kind of one of the go-to people around the Ark.
Do you imagine that he's the largest of the people in the Ark, or one of the largest, or are there bigger people?
I would say one of the largest. I think that he's probably, if there's maybe like a couple of the bosses each have their kind of equivalent of a large kind of bruiser guy, and so maybe he's kind of allied himself with one of the bosses, but he's probably not unthreatened by, like, there are probably a couple of the big guys who you would kind of see the bosses are having a sit down, and there's these three big bruisers kind of like playing dice in the corner, like smoking a cigarette, these like, they're all ex-football player type, just these, kind of just big guys that kind of get along, but also kind of have a little bit of a tense rivalry.
Is it okay if I attach you to Marlot just for purposes of what we're doing?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Let's go through your relationships to PCs and relationships to NPCs and get those established.
Sure. I don't have the sheet up. Let me bring up the rule book.
Okay.
While he's doing that, mine seemed to have disappeared off my character sheet.
Really? Yeah, there's something weird. I lost, like on the Ark thing, I lost some of the info in the boxes there. So let me tell you what I have for you written down.
I think
Chris,
makes me nervous.
Pontiac, you dislike because he thinks he's so smart.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to protect Elon, even though he kind of makes you a little nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Dink definitely makes you nervous because the way he looks at you. Tula is awesome. Keep her close. And Durango is out for your gear. Is that cool?
Okay.
Max, did you get that pulled up, or do I need?
Yeah, I pulled it up. All right. So okay. One of them is that somebody, the relationship to other PC, someone fought by my side.
Okay.
Tula, would you want to be that?
Yeah, sounds good.
So Tula has fought by my side and kind of earned my respect that way. I hate. I can either hate. Well, maybe. Okay. So there's the. Do you want me to go with these predefined names, or do you want me to? Just
Yeah, because we've kind of built up on those.
Okay.
What is your relationship to Jin? If we've got Tula's thing, what are you thinking your relationship to Jin is?
So I can either hate you or want to protect you. I kind of feel like wanting to protect you might be easier. How do you think that Jin would have interacted with the way I've described?
Do we remember who Dink's owner was before Jin?
Millix.
Millix. So it depends on your relationships with Millix, probably, because Jin killed Millix.
So Millix is one of the people who I could hate.
Oh.
So
though you'll probably want to pick one of the other ones just because since Millix is dead.
Sure. Okay, so then I hate the enforcer Elon, who is the only one who's beat me in a fair fight, and so Elon is probably attached to one of the other bosses.
Yep.
And it's the one, and Elon is who Jin protects.
Oh, really?
That's good. But they're set up to work that way, right? There's built-in conflict.
Yep.
And then, okay, I need to protect the boss Marlot, who provides grub for me. That's one of my options.
Oh, that worked out well. Okay. So, what do you think? And I'm going to bring this question back to Jin and Tula. This is one we didn't look at last time. It's in the playbooks. What is your big dream? So, Baldanders, there's a set of things there. Do one of those seem right, or is there something else that would seem good for you for your big dream?
I think to build rather than destroy is a good one for me. Like, I think that I'm often tasked with kind of go out and kill something or do these kind of brute force protection tasks. But like, I would rather just have some donkeys and a little plot of land and be living peacefully. And I think I'm the happiest when I'm helping build something and just kind of quiet, just not interacting with a lot of people, but just working with my hands. So I think to build rather than destroy is my dream.
So the pig farm is certainly something you're appreciating that they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
The two-headed pig farm. Don't forget.
Two-headed pig farm. That's right. That's right. I'd forgotten about the two heads on the pigs. Jin, what is your big dream?
Jin's big dream is to find Eden and explore all the technical marvels there. So that's pretty easy. It's just because there's just so much out there. There's got to be so much good stuff. And she also has a this is just a fictional item or something for.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking for. Decoration. So she's got a radiometer. The old light bulb things with the 4 flags on the inside that spins when it's in light.
Yep.
And so she likes to sit there and look at that, and she's got a dream about creating solar panels, basically.
Okay.
Setting up solar energy, and so she thinks that if she goes to Eden, she'll be able to find what she needs there.
Awesome. Tula, what's your big dream?
So first question is, are any of you hearing a lot of noise coming from my microphone?
I'm only hearing noise from Christo's microphone.
We're getting a little bit of roboting on the edge of Christo.
Really? Okay.
Oh, good. Looks like that windscreen is working very well on my microphone then. There's an air conditioning unit literally just out of frame. So Tula's, was it her dream? I don't know if it makes sense. Since I thought that she was a wanderer before, I had her big dream as to stop wandering and find peace, but I don't know if that tracks. Because she's lived in the Ark her whole life.
Well, potentially you could have left and come back. But actually that's a possibility. I don't know if that fits with what you're thinking.
I could have left after the dust up with that killed that one boss, and then I came back, and I don't really talk about that time. And that's probably why Astria talks to me way too much. She wants to know what I saw, and I'm like, I'm not talking about it.
Once all the details, keeps pressing on you that the elder needs to know, you need to tell, you need to sit down, and we need to get all of that information down in my head. You need to tell me. Memory is the only thing we have. Every day that she can find you, she's doing that. So
some things are best left not remembered, Astria.
That's not true. So we've got that established. I'll show you. I'm going to flip over to another page here. I kind of put together a sort of pseudo map from of the factory that, of course, I stole from one of the map packs. So you can see I've kind of outlined that. I found a lot of tires that I could put on there. So that's why there are a ton of tires. Christo, where do you think you sleep? Where's your den?
You're muted, or we can't hear you.
Weird. Nope, still can't hear you. Do you need to... Okay. Tula, you said that you were imagining that there's a place here that the stalkers live at. We got sort of two big buildings here. And imagining that there's probably a catwalk going across between the two. Where do you suppose you'd have the sort of the stalker hangout, just relative position?
I'm thinking maybe around there. It seems like the town would be in this direction. It seems like maybe there was like receiving dock over here or something. And so yeah, the town I imagine is off that way.
Okay. Right.
So yeah, there'd be a chunk taken out of the
Yeah. So we'll put the little stalker thing. Okay. And what about you, Baldanders? Where do you think you hang your head?
Maybe so. A lot of the places kind of have near the main door, kind of like maybe like a reception office or some kind of entrance office, maybe where people would clock in and out.
Mm-hmm.
Something near the front. Maybe I kind of have modified that to be a little bit of a room.
Okay. Let's put you pretty close. I'll put you on this building. Put you down here. That makes sense to me. And what is your den, your place that you crash in? What is that like?
Yeah, I think it's not too big. Like, it's probably one of those kind of narrow rooms where there's just enough space for like a stool and a counter and not a lot behind it. So I think there's kind of a makeshift bed in the back corner that, whatever we kind of found, maybe, whether it's tire pieces or with a plywood on top, something where you could kind of sleep, but that takes up most of the width of the room. And then kind of up on the shelf is just kind of things that he's found in the wilds, just little knickknacks, this and that, things that he doesn't understand, or things that maybe old like fragments of toys or old fragments of just different things that he's found and thinks are interesting. I think that maybe the windows are covered up kind of like with like little like fragments of plywood that are just kind of up so that he has a little bit of privacy in there.
Okay.
But there's not a whole lot in there.
Chris, Can you talk?
I can talk. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay.
Okay, good. Well, I logged off and killed a lot of processes in the background to see if that would help, because I have no idea why that was doing that. Okay.
Google.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, technology. So Jin lives on the roof in a shack with Dink.
Okay. Where do you think the shack is at?
On the roof? And I couldn't. I'll have to log back into Roll20. I couldn't see on Roll20 a map. I just had a gray. I had a gray screen for some reason. So that might have been whatever the issue was going on with my computer. So let's see what I see now. Oh, there we go. Now
You're also not roboting anymore, so that's good.
Yeah.
This is good. Okay, so is that the?
So we got kind of
ground
two
floor?
buildings. This is sort of from the top view.
Okay.
So these are the two buildings that kind of connect up. There's probably the catwalk across between them, sort of over.
Okay.
Here, I'm imagining.
I see what you're saying.
So I'm going to ask you two things. Where is the workshop located, relative, and where is the place you crash at?
We'd established that the workshop was a shared workshop, so I share it with Pontiac, which drives me absolutely crazy. And because he steals credit for what I do, I think was one of the things. And on the roof, I guess it would be on the other roof.
Okay.
The other building, whatever that building is. And the workshop, I think, was sort of like the first floor or even a basement, if that was in this. I know we'd established, I think we had like huge tanks in like a sub-basement somewhere that we were planning on using for filtering.
All right. Let's put that, I'm going to put that sort of over here. I'm going to put the workshop.
And were the stacks of tires that were glued together on the roof? Is that what we were also establishing? Was that we were doing some sort of, it was a wonky filtering system we had with the tires?
Yes, it is a terrible and a disgusting filtration system that you have there.
Yes.
All right. So that's where the workshop and the basement relatively is located. All right. Now, we've got a couple of rolls to do. First of all, everybody, you get a mutation point. Just for being you, everybody gets 1 mutation point. Don't forget the other way that you get mutation points is when you push a roll and you take damage, you get 1 mutation point for every point of damage that you take. There are many different kinds of damage, but we'll come back to that when it's an issue. So, can I have... let's have Tula. Can you roll me just a straight D6?
All right.
All right. All right. That is awesome. I'm now reducing our population by 3.
Oh?
At the end of each session, or beginning of session, depending on how painful you want to make it, we roll a die to see how many people have died in the arc. So that can eventually be reduced by increasing your food rating. When that goes up, that can reduce that number. Speaking of which, Jin, can I have you roll 2d6? This is going to determine how much your food supply is increased by. We're going to take the pig farm as done. All right. So your food supply is now a 10. And that's a significant improvement for you guys. You go from it being a real struggle to starvation isn't far away. You probably have enough to cover your daily needs as long as there's nothing threatening the harvest or the hunt. Typically you can, for 1 bullet, you can get 2 rations of grub. So it kind of increases the exchange rate for you guys.
And I assume that for the people that die, we give them to the pigs?
You do now.
Yeah. Waste not, whatnot.
Do you imagine that there are any kind of funeral services that you guys hold in the Ark?
Yeah.
Like?
I imagine that, since there are some sort of nasty aquatic creatures nearby, maybe they can like walk on land as well. We tend to take the dead and drag them downstream a certain distance, and then like put them there with like a big rock on their chest. That way they don't get dragged back to our. So, maybe people memorialize the stone a little bit, but just knowing that the body's probably going to be dragged away at some point by wildlife.
Well, that's why I was thinking maybe we feed them to the pigs. And so maybe that's just they're always with us. They're part of our community, but...
Well, now we do.
Yeah.
But we have pigs to feed them to.
So there's probably right now, even as you've got the pig thing set up, there's probably a debate going on in and amongst people about, well, we've always done the memorial thing. Now we're not doing it. We're feeding to the pigs. That doesn't seem right. Boss Victoria, who I mentioned before, has a real sense of sort of ritual, and Jeebus seems upset about the fact that you're changing that. So that's increasing some tension there. But we've got that set. The next thing is we're going to do the assembly with the three of you. We've got the pig farm done. It is complete. So the question now is, what do you want for your next project? And I will run quickly through your options. Finding that page.
I'm leaning it towards anything that's temple or shrine related, partially to appease that one boss.
Okay. Well, here are the options. Defenses, hunting parties. We'll leave cannibalism off the table. Croplands, slave markets, a temple, zone wrestling, so essentially Thunderdome, and I think that is it for the things that you can do given your development points right now. So I heard temple. What do you think, Jin? What do you think, Baldanders?
When we say organize hunting parties, that's for food?
Yep. So what that does is people start organizing rather than just kind of, catch as catch can going out. You start organizing your hunting parties.
I think that's what Jin would be for. Because she wants more people going out in an organized fashion, because then we'll find more stuff. More things for me to play with.
We've got two approaches on the table. Either of those appeal to you?
Yeah. So just mechanically, if we pick temple, would we be building the temple through this session, or is it do you need to pick zone expedition to do the zone expedition?
No, we'll be doing the zone expedition. If you do the zone expedition as a project, then you kind of abstract that to build things up.
I see.
We'll be going out into the zone probably this session.
Okay.
The temple, you use endure or manipulate, and it takes essentially 3 points to do that. It gives you plus a d6 of culture. Use endure or shoot. It again costs 3 work points, and it actually adds 2d6 to your food supply.
Yeah, I think Baldenders is interested more in building the temple. I think maybe on one of his last expeditions he found like a little religious item kind of thing, like maybe like a Buddha statue, and I think he's like been interested in it, and like he kind of brought it back, and it's like sitting in the corner of his room, and I don't know that anyone really understands the distinctions between these like symbols, so I think that maybe people are kind of, he's started to kind of try to think about the larger picture, and I don't think that he really gets the like larger metaphysical implications, but he just like wants to believe that there's something larger, and he might be one of the people who would be bothered by the feeding people to pigs thing. So
that makes sense. So seems like temple is the thing that's on the table. It only is going to take 3 work points. You can use endure or manipulate as your role to generate build points. So I'm going to start with you, Tula, on this. If you want to do a day's work on the project, essentially contribute towards that. What do you imagine the temple is going to look like?
So I imagine that the temple will be sort of a ramshackle hut outside the main buildings, and we'll have a graveyard out back, which is where we control access for the pigs to get to the honored dead. So we give people a chance to mourn and everything like that before the pigs eat them. So yeah, so that's my notion.
Okay.
Does that sound not completely horrifying to everyone?
I'm not horrified yet.
Like I said, this is all I'm doing all of this to appease Jeepus person.
Okay. I'll put some stuff out there. So do you want to use endure or manipulate for your work with this?
Looks like endure.
Okay. All right. So go out, start putting this together. You're kind of figuring it out, trying to appease. Let's have you roll your work.
It's skill first.
Skill first, then stat.
I'm actually going to do manipulate because that follows what I originally thought. Like basically, I'm convincing people that it's a good idea to appease Jeepus person.
Okay. All right. So that is 1 success.
Yeah.
Now, you could push it. You would automatically take a point of damage, but you have a chance of re-rolling that 1 die and having a 1 in 6 chance of success.
So my wits damage, was that, did I recover that since last session, or no? Have I not had a chance to really rest?
You haven't had a chance to sort of really rest yet.
Now, since we're going to be going out in the zone, I don't want to risk it.
Okay. All right. So you contribute, you start talking it up with people, getting them on board. Baldanders, you also, you put your support behind this. So how are you helping out with the building of this temple?
I'm definitely doing the manual labor part of it. I think that kind of as soon as people start talking about the temple and the idea that we would have that, I think Baldander's just like kind of starts building it, like maybe like kind of right like as consensus is still building, like he's already kind of out there like moving center blocks in place and like piling up the tires to support it. So yeah, I'll make an endure roll.
Yeah. So I imagine you going out to town, getting those blocks and anything that's solid and kind of stacking them up.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have 1 success. You could certainly push it if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, push it. I have a lot of dice to roll if I push it, so it seems like a logical thing to do here. There we go. Well.
Oh my God! So you're going to take 1 point of damage.
Yeah.
But you're going to end up with, it looks like, 5 successes there. I don't know why it's reading that as 5. It is 4. It does not matter. The temple is built through your sheer potent labor. Roll me a d6 to see how much it raises your culture by.
Sure. And it looks like the 5 is because it dropped the one from the success from the first roll off.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right, because it reads down.
Ugh.
Okay.
Oh.
So culture
Alas.
goes up just a little. Each is incrementally up. It's an easy project. You're able to do that. So Christo, you're a little hesitant about this temple thing. You really wanted the hunting party. They did the building on it. So you don't have to spend your time doing that. So if you wanted to, this is one of those sort of game mechanic things, you could make something with your skill. The jury rig skill allows you to build some stuff. So if there's something you want to try and build, you can do that.
What are the options? What are the limitations
All right.
of what you can
That is
build?
a good question. So you could build a scrap gun, some arrows.
It shoots scrap? Is that what it does?
It's a pistol that will fall apart eventually.
Okay.
Scrap armor, a shield made from a road sign, a rot suit, a cold suit, an explosive charge, a flaming torch, a lamp lit by booze, binoculars, a foghorn, a distiller, camouflage, a scrap raft, a cart, a balloon, or a balloon.
I'll do the distiller because actually I'd sort of said that she did it, that Jin had done it before, but since it's something that we could build, then let's say that that's what she's working on because it'll be useful in so many ways.
So go ahead and you're going to roll your jury rig for that. It only takes one success to build the distiller. If you get more successes, we'll be able to, use that additionally.
Okay, and jury rig, got it.
I had a notion about the previous still. I imagine it got destroyed in retaliation for you killing that one boss.
Probably somebody who goes and sabotages it each time.
Okay, it goes skill then attribute, right?
Yep.
Okay. I don't believe that.
So you get one success, which is all you need.
Okay.
And you don't take any damage. Now, mind you, you could push it.
I'll save on pushing it until we're in something more that weighs more value, I think. But yeah, so yes. So I have a distiller.
So what that does is it generates you a D6 doses of booze before it kind of runs out. So go ahead and roll how many doses of booze you get. 4. That's a decent amount of booze.
Yeah, that should buy me some friendship.
Yeah. So what I want to do is let's set up from last time. I want to see where you guys are in your daily lives. I want to kind of build on the setup that we had from last time. See what you guys want to do in preparation. You'll have a chance to do stuff in town if you want, or you can go straight out. If you want to do a go around where you rest and recover, you're also welcome to do that. So Jin, you get up, and does Dink crash with you up on the roof, or okay? Mm-hmm. You
Remember,
get up.
He established that he sleeps under the workbench.
Right. So you get up and you start to move around, and strangely, you used to Dink rolling out and getting up and moving and trying to get your stuff and kind of getting in your way. He's not.
So he's still sleeping. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's kind of unusual.
So Jin is sort of hesitant, and she's intimidated by him. She never really wanted this whole slave thing. That wasn't what she was going after. Melix was just a danger. And so and he's big, so she's also a little wary of him that way, since he's an unknown to her. But so she approaches him and lightly taps him on the shoulder to see how, to wake him up and see that everything's okay. Because everybody has to get up here, right? We all get up with the sun, basically, because we have lots of work to do. So, and I'm assuming, is he sweating? Is he?
When he kind of turns over, you will see that he's definitely sweating, perspiring thickly, and you can see that there are red splotches on his skin in various places. Not something you've seen before. And he's kind of doing that sort of breathing in like he's really tired.
Okay. Jin actually has one in heal.
Okay.
Can she use that to figure out what she could do to help him?
Absolutely.
Okay. I forget, that's empathy, isn't it? Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I've got a 2 in empathy. Okay. So... Whoops, that didn't work. With a 0. But what I'm assuming she's doing, especially since she just got the skill made, so she's got 4 bottles of hard alcohol, we'd say, or is it pure alcohol? That's
it's
pretty high proof, right?
Pretty high proof.
Good. And so
it is less than delicious.
Right. But so she could also, if he's showing a fever, she could also put it on a rag and put it on his forehead to try and cool him down.
Dob. Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah. Huh. No, that didn't work. You know what? I will push it in this particular case.
Okay.
It still didn't work. Wait, am I doing this right? How can I have 0s for all of these?
Yep. No, you got no, because you didn't get any
okay,
ones on the yellow or 6s.
Got it.
So you seem to make it a little worse. Like you try to get him up and get him moving and get him set. And when you do that, he's actually racked with coughing. You eventually have to kind of just sit him up so he can breathe. And yeah, it looks beyond your expertise. So we'll cut from that to Aldanders. Marlotte, she's solid. She's solid, and she's a lot less flashy than the other bosses. But she will say, I need you to go over to Astria, the Chronicler, and I need you to convince her to come here. She and I have bad blood, but I need some information from her. Can you do that?
Yeah, he kind of flexes his hands, convince her.
I don't want her permanently injured, but I need you to convince her. I would send other people, but we've got some people sick.
He kind of nods slowly, and he's like, I'll have her here shortly.
Okay. You can see her, that look on her face like, maybe this isn't the best idea, but she lets you go. So where do you imagine the Chronicler? She's one of the smart people. She definitely works with the Elder from time to time. She's got the brain stuff going on. Where do you imagine that Astria, is during the day?
So if the temple had just been built, then I think maybe people are kind of going over there, and I think the Chronicler might be interested in kind of denoting the first creation of the temple and kind of getting hearing from the different people of the Ark what they're coming to the temple with, and maybe kind of there's someone who's taken it upon themselves to start kind of manning the temple or speaking from there. So I think maybe she's chronicling that whole experience.
Yeah, she is up in their business. Some of the chroniclers are subtle. They listen. They're like wise people. She is not. She is up there prodding them and asking them questions. How do you feel? What do you think? What's going on? So you'll see her doing that. Some of the people like to talk, so they do speak with her. Others are scooting away from her. How do you want to approach this?
Yeah, so I think that kind of as Baldanders would walk up, like maybe some of the bigger adherents of the temple like saw that Baldanders was like pretty influential in getting the temple up, so would have kind of a like a positive impression of him as he walked up. But I think he would not really like acknowledge them too much. Like he would kind of see a couple people like, oh, like yeah, and he would just kind of keep going towards Astria, and just kind of walk up to her. I kind of see her in mid conversation with someone, and he would kind of put his hand on her shoulder and just be like, Marlot wants to see you.
And she kind of goes to kind of shrug your hand off, but probably doesn't move. And you know that she's had to deal with tough people, so she's kind of sharp. And she looks at you and she says, "Why? Why? Give me a reason."
He's like, "I didn't ask why, but you need to come now."
So she does seem like, without any reason, she doesn't want to go with you. She's kind of looking around. You have the sense that maybe she doesn't want to give in too easily with other people in the presence. How do you want to do this? How do you want to get her to move?
I think that kind of with the hand on the shoulder and the kind of just the like insistence that it would be just a little bit kind of intimidating. Like he's not going to give a reason. He's not going to like really like explain anything to her or like talk about it. Like he's not like a soft person when it comes to this interpersonal. He's just very business, and he's like, Marlot told me to come get you. I'm going to get you, whether you're coming easy or not. I don't think that he would think. I think he would think that dragging her would be easier than convincing her.
Okay. Let's have you. I think it's going to be a force check.
So I have Intimidate as my skill.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you have that. That's right. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So you get to use your specialty skill on her. Awesome.
I only have one in it, but it's a strength skill.
Yep.
So I have a lot of strength.
All right. One success. So that forces her to make that choice, either to get in a fight with you or do what you want. She does not want to get in a fight with you. She does her level best to maintain some dignity in this, but it's pretty clear that you are pushing her along, and she will go with you. People kind of watch. There's some discussion about what's happening there, and you will take her to Marlot. She puts on a brave face when you bring her in, and Marlot will kind of point to a chair, have her sit down, and then Marlot will turn to you and will say, "I need you to wait outside, Baldanders. Just make sure nobody interrupts us."
You would just kind of nod and walk, to wherever that would be. Would it still be in earshot, or would it not be in earshot?
Yeah, it would be in earshot. And she says to her, "I need you to give me the details, any details you have on," and the hospital. And there seems to be some back and forth. Like Astria doesn't want to give it up, but Marlot is pressing her on that, and that goes on back and forth. They kind of get to negotiating, like horse trading for that. So I'm going to cut from that to Tula. Tula, you've been asked to kind of put together an expedition to get some people. Marlot gave you some assurances on that. How do you go about doing that? Is there any prep work that you do? People you particularly want to recruit, that kind of thing?
I'm definitely going to get my own gear together, and I don't necessarily. I mean, are any of the other stalkers interested in doing this? I imagine Marlot's going to send one of her own with us.
Well, okay, so you probably know that Marlot's going to send somebody with you. You're probably going to want to hit up your gearhead friend.
Oh yeah,
you know
that was the next thing.
So yeah, let's say that you're going to try and get one of these stalkers. Which of the stalkers is most companionable to you? And again, the stalkers are a tight-knit group, and you just returned from being outside. And while they're curious about what you learned, you're also a little bit of an outsider to them. But which of the stalkers treats you with a little more regard?
I think there's one called Anders, and he hasn't been up in my grill about what I saw and what I did out there. We had sort of a chilly relationship before, and it's still pretty chilly now. But since we respect each other's space, that's the sort of person I want coming with me.
Okay.
I also suspect he works for one of the other bosses who isn't Marlot.
And Anders is kind of crouched there. He has very weird legs. He has kind of frog legs. He's able to leap further. It does mean he has to, unfortunately, keep his legs a little more exposed than he would like to be able to do that. And he'll look up as you come over. And he will say, Tula?
Anders? I'm going to go out into the zone, either today or tomorrow, and I would like your help.
My help? You go out by yourself. Why do you need my help?
Because I'm not just going out alone. I'll have other people with me, and I don't think I can watch all of them alone.
Wow, this is not something normal. What is?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know all the details yet.
That's how people get killed.
Well, if I feel bad about it, if I get the bad feels about it, I will not go.
Their pay somebody fronting?
Yes, somebody is fronting.
And he'll kind of turn around and he'll go, okay.
All right.
I want to see what you do out there. I want to know how you survived a year out there.
I nod, and then I go to talk to Jin, who I expect to see in the workshop, but I guess is upstairs tending to Dink.
Jin, is it stairs or a ladder to get up to the roof?
I think it's stairs because I think it shows like a what looks like a stair. You know, the roof exit stair on the top of the roof.
Yeah. So you'll hear the gunk, 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 because everything here is loosely fitted, and regardless of how light you step, everything makes noise and echoes.
And Jin fixed a bell over the door, so anybody that opens it's going to cause a bell to ring, so she'll hear that. So
yes, it isn't the normal like gunk, 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 gunk thing. It's there's a creak pop, very rhythmic, So you know it's got to be one of the stalkers then, because we walk on everything that's unstable. Like we walk on everything like it's unstable, fall apart underneath us.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense. And when you get up top, you'll see Jin, and Jin looks worried.
Yeah. So, and she's got a drink in her hand. So she's she's testing her brew, if you will, and you see she's got a cup on the side. She says, "I thought somebody would be coming, but I wasn't sure who. Care for a drink?"
No, I need a clear head for this.
I understand, but she looks troubled. She says,
Yeah.
Sometimes I just have to unwind a little bit," and she quaffs it and slams the glass down and says, and hops down and says, brushes off, and says, "Okay, what do we need to do? You obviously didn't come here to chat."
Well, no, but
Spit it
well,
out.
you weren't in your workshop, and now, well, they've had people dying, and from this, maybe this illness instead of starvation or water poisoning, and I'm glad to see you're healthy.
I'm fine. Dink is not. And I'm very worried about him. I haven't seen these blotchy fever before.
No, neither have I. Well, not here anyway.
Do we have any information about it? Do we know what causes it, or what we can do to help?
No, I don't know. The only thing that I've seen is I came across some dead that had blotches.
And where was this?
On my journey.
Okay, couldn't you be a little more precise than that? I'm not trying to get your secrets. I'm trying to understand where this might be coming from.
I don't say any more now because I don't know anymore. I don't know what happened or anything like that. But they didn't look like they died from lack of food or lack of water.
And out of character, do we know, is there any, we said is this 50 years after some sort of apocalypse, right?
You have no idea what happened.
Okay. But
Literally no idea.
Do we, are there any medical institutes that we know of or anything like that? I gather that's what what we were trying to get out of the chronicler, is if there was a hospital nearby that might have something that could help. Is that what that conversation was going?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's certainly not something that you guys know of. It might be rumored, but you don't know specifics.
Okay. And Jin's on a fence. She says, well, on the one hand, if we go where you saw that, we might find survivors and find how they survived. On the other hand, we could all get infected and die.
Well, it seems like this has come to us, so... But I wanted to take you on a mission out into the zone, but if you're tending to Dink, then I don't know that it's a good idea. I'll ask more about the area that we're traveling to, and if it's I think there's something there that could help Dink. Would you be interested in coming along?
Yes. Yeah, certainly. And again, out of character, I assume we have somebody in our compound that is better at medicine and taking care of the sick than I am.
Yeah, who is that?
Let's say it's Ferris.
Ferris.
Spell it how you want.
Okay.
And so it's Ferris, and I look at Tula and I say, I think I can probably convince Ferris to look after Dink while I'm gone. Ferris will be better at it anyway. And she pulls out one of her bottles and she says, I think I've got some good currency now.
Oh, good. How are we going to get Dink down?
And we'll cut that scene there with that line, okay, being figured out. And let's cut to you two plus Anders meeting with Marlant. Does that seem reasonable?
Yep.
Okay. And Baldanders, you're there. Astria has been sent off, and Marlant looks and sees Jin and seems pleased. That seems like a good choice to her. And she'll say, Baldanders, they're going to go out into the zone. Can you willing to go with them?
I don't think that Baldanders is ever excited to go into the zone, but he knows that he's an asset on trips like this, and I think that he would, have kind of gathered the importance from overhearing the conversation about the sick and seeing the sick around, and would kind of, nod, and say, I say that to that extent. I'm never excited to go into the zone, but if you believe it's a mission worth taking, then I'm happy to go.
It is. Say, and she will pull out the map that you have, and I'm going to switch the Roll20 over the map. And she will say, as you know, usually we go to the west. The area is easier, not as dense, not as dangerous as the western lands. But I need you to go to the west. And there, and she'll mark out a zone here. Whoop, if I can actually get the thing here. 17J. She'll mark out that zone there on the map that There is a hospital there, or was. There was a stalker that came through while you were gone, actually, Tula, one of your colleagues, who went to the west and came back and brought information on that, but passed away shortly afterwards. If it is what we think it is, there may be medicines there. So I need you four to go there and search the place and see what you can find.
I sort of cant my head. I say, how did you know that we would need this? Did you see the early signs of illness before Dink and the others became ill?
I make it my mission to know generally about what's going on. And over the past couple of weeks, I've heard some of the bosses speak about people being lazy. And after more than a few instances, it became clear that something more was going on.
I frown and nod.
She goes, I see the big picture. Because I know that eventually the elder is going to be dead and we're going to be left on our own.
Well, I guess sooner than later if we don't get medicine.
That's true. Now, I'm not asking you to do this necessarily out of the goodness of your hearts. So here's what I'm going to offer you to support you for this trip and to pay for your efforts. I'll give you 6 bullets each. I'll give you 2 rations of grub, 2 of water. And then I have some tools to hand off. And she'll produce a baseball bat, a scrap pistol, and what looks like some gardening tools, like a spade and some other stuff.
Can you repeat that? You said 6 bullets each.
2 water and 2 grub.
Okay.
And then baseball bat, pistol, and a spade. Spade and other tools, but. Does that seem equitable to you, gentlemen?
Alexander just kind of nods. I think would kind of gather up his things that had been put out. He already kind of has an axe kind of strapped on to his back, a scrap axe, which is a heavy weapon, and so he would be happy to take either of the other ones, but he's not particularly skillful at shooting, and he doesn't know that baseball bat would be a nice backup, but he's not reaching out to grab either one. I think he's looking at the tools more than anything else, thinking about kind of how he could apply them when he got back. Thinking that it would be useful now, especially now that we have all these pigs producing fertilizer. That he's kind of maybe thinking about something that he could use those tools on to make it more productive.
Mechanically, the spade gives you an extra gear die when you do work projects.
Oh, then he would be most interested in those.
There's so stalkers can come with either pistol, rifle, or a bow, and that is I forgot that was the other weird thing Tula has. She has a bow.
Okay.
So she would probably want to convert some of those bullets into arrows.
Okay. And I think it's 4 arrows to a bullet, I think.
Oh, cool. All right.
What are you picking up, Jim? We got the pistol and the baseball bat on the table.
Pistol.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no hesitation. She immediately goes for the technological item.
Checks that out.
Yeah.
It's not a scrap pistol. It's an actual pistol, but it's not in very good shape.
Oh, is it like a revolver? So she can do like a whoosh, spin it and put the bullets in?
Sure, absolutely. That sounds like a thing that she would do. Yeah. Plus, it doesn't require a spring.
When you go and spin the chamber, it goes zik, click, click.
Yeah,
instead of just push it along.
Yeah. This needs some work, but this will be good.
I look at Anders and ask if just sort of like raise the baseball bat to him, like handle first, see if he wants it.
He'll look at Baldanders and he'll go, how about I carry it for you, big guy?
Sure. Yeah, I think he kind of nods. Yeah. So is Anders is his name, the frog leg?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, if you hand Anders the baseball bat, then Baldanders is definitely.
I shake my head. No, this is for you, Anders. Not for you, Baldander. And I sort of like loosen my belt and put the baseball bat in my belt
and Anders looks at you, jerk, gets all grumbly, but the deal is done. He's more than willing for the grub and water and bullets to go out there. And so that is the plan. You guys are getting ready to go on expedition. This seems like a good time to take a bio break. Let's take 5, and then we will continue on, do any other prep work, and move out into the zone.
Cool.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello. Were you the one
Hey.
asking about how to get the? Oh, you
Yeah,
did, Max. You did.
I
You did
figured
get your
it
picture
out.
to appear.
Yeah, I Googled it. So, I was like, because I've been in a couple of these where I've seen everyone else with them, and I'm like, well, how do you do that? And I always mean to ask between games, and I always forget.
So how did you do it? Because I don't. I often have this problem. Even when I click on the comment, not the comment, the chat bubble, it still doesn't seem to show me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I am still anonymous. I don't know why I'm still anonymous. I thought you meant the with the bar, my name bar over here.
Oh no, you're not anonymous. Actually, I see you.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh,
And
it's
you
huh.
and you see me. Is that what you're saying?
I see you. But I also see anonymous capybara. So I don't know.
Oh, in a document.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know what I turned my ad blocker off and on, and then I
Huh.
reloaded the page. Those are the two things I did. So I'm not sure which of them worked. But a game question. So I don't think that I have armor, right? Like that's not like it doesn't. It's not something that I begin the game with.
No, I don't believe so, unless it says on your sheet. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I just wasn't sure because I had kind of described it as having armor, but I knew that wasn't. I realized that it wasn't actually something that I had.
Well, what I imagine is that it's armor, and it used to have a rating, but at this point, it's kind of, it's at that point where it could fall apart.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's kind of he hasn't used it in a while, or like it's kind of gotten beaten up. So needs to be fixed up. And then, how would we be able to buy water? Or
Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
what's the rate for that?
Let me find that page. So clean water is 2 rations for a bullet.
Okay. And then is there a list of other things that we could buy, or is it? I mean,
Yeah, actually, if you have the, do
I
you have the
have
book?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's page 260.
Okay.
Anything that has like a requirement on it means you can't buy it, but the other things generally can be purchased.
Okay.
Once the players realize that the spade gave an extra die for doing any of those projects, every session was, okay, everybody, who broke your spade? We got to get that another one, and just work through those.
Yeah.
But does that mean Jin can theoretically fix anything that breaks?
Yes.
Okay.
Anything that has a gear die rating that decays, you can repair. In a long-term campaign, that becomes both a benefit and a huge curse, as every session begins with people begging you to spend your time repairing their items.
Sure.
So I have a decent amount because I started with 6 bullets and then we just got 6. So is it okay if I just add some stuff, or do you want me to ask you?
Yeah, no, you go ahead. I mean, it's a short-term campaign, so I don't mind.
Yeah. Okay. Does anyone have a tent, or is that something that we would want to have on this mission, or are we?
It is 1, 2. It's at least 3. Sorry, the zone you're going to is the 4th one out. So you're probably talking at least 2 or 3 days. Be faster on the way back, but getting out there will probably be 2 days.
Would we want to split that cost? It looks like the tent would cost 3 to 6. So maybe if we got a big tent, it would be 6, and we could split it 3 ways. Or what do you think?
And what does it get us?
So the tent gives +1 to endure cold for every occupant. I guess I'm not sure. I guess maybe it's not that cold out.
No, actually, I'm going to say one of the things we established is that you are sort of in a Floridian style heat. So
okay, then maybe we don't need the tent.
So what would it cost Jin to actually buy the LED headlamp that I said she had fictionally? make it a working one?
Well, let me see here.
Flashlight is 3 to 6, and it requires a workshop and a battery.
Yeah. So, yeah, flashlights are sort of off the table because they're a little more expensive because batteries are hard to come by.
Okay, then I guess I'm taking that off.
Well, you can have it. It just doesn't work.
Nah, she's practical.
You need to charge it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't carry it then, but you might have it at the workshop.
Yeah. And how much water do we use in a day and how much grub?
So each day, at the end of each day, you're going to pay 1 grub and 1 water, the base cost. Now, the other thing is that grub and water are used to heal.
Right.
So to heal agility damage is water. To heal physical damage is grub. So you're going to want to keep that in mind.
And how you said water costs for 1 bullet, you get 2 waters, and for 1.
Yep.
And is it the same for grub?
Yeah, it is now with the food supply increase.
Okay. Then I'm going to spend 2 bullets and add 2 grub and 2 waters.
Okay.
And is it also likely we're going to find water and grub on the way?
That is one of the possibilities if your stalker rolls well.
Uh-huh. Okay. Plan for the worst. So I'll spend another bullet.
That's not the worst plan.
Or another 2 bullets. There we go.
So, Lowell, for both the oil lantern and the boots, the cost is 1 to 2. Would you like me to spend just 1 on each or 2 on each?
Why don't you roll a d6? Essentially 1 to 3 costs 1, 4 to 6 costs 2.
Okay, so I'll roll the oil, or I'll just roll 2d6 and then we'll see.
Okay.
So it looks like they're both expensive.
And what you said there was something that would use alcohol to provide light.
Booze
The
lamp.
oil lamp.
Yeah, the lamp.
The booze lamp, is that what it is?
Yep.
How much is
oil
it?
lantern? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's what costs 2?
It costs 2 for me. You could, I guess, roll a d6. I don't know.
Yeah, sure. And booze is 1 dose of booze for, 4 doses of booze for 1 bullet.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll cost you 2.
Well, I said we could head out the next morning if people were okay with that. So if people need to prep.
If you do that, then I will say that you guys can heal all your damage, and somebody dies. We just lower that number by 1.
I mean, so I guess the question is, would that be what is that worth the cost? I mean, even you could just say that's a risk of people dying, but
Well, how damaged is anybody? Have you taken...
I took 1 damage from pushing myself, so I think I'm okay. I'm actually not sure how to know. Where do I track? Oh, I see the damage now.
Yeah.
So it was a strength damage. So yeah, I'm fine. I have 4 more damage to go on strength. So
yeah, I'm probably fine.
And do we only
think.
heal here, or will we heal when we sleep outside?
When you sleep outside, you can heal that exhaustion damage, as long as you get a few hours of uninterrupted sleep. But you do get a night's sleep here, so I mean, if you decide to stay on.
Well, I think Jin is going to be foregoing out now because Dink is sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we shouldn't wait. It's not going to get any better, and we might end up with more people getting sick.
Okay. I'll raise that population number back up 1.
No, that makes sense. I'm ready to go.
All right.
Yeah. Ready.
So you head out from the Ark. This is for you sort of known terrain. The the buildings in the little town out that are around, and then you kind of turn and begin to head westward. I assume going diagonally, you'll be going to H14. We'll hit that with a tag that with a thing here. So that's the sort of the next zone over. Let me ask you this. People don't usually head westward. What has been, Tula, the reason why that is? What has been the thing that has kept people from heading sort of towards the west and southwest?
So the west is this way.
Oh, sorry, to the east. Sorry, to the east.
East is this way.
Yeah. By the way, you should also double check when I say left and right in this game. If I ever do that, you will need to double check because I've killed more people in MMOs than I can count.
Lowell, are you a retrained left-hander?
I'm a left-hander, but I use both hands when I mouse, and I'm very bad at left and right off the top of my head. Because
that's evidently one of the side effects of people that are born left-handed being retrained is they can.
Oh wow!
That disrupts whatever that connection is.
Okay, that's very strange. I did not know that.
Yeah, my wife is a retrained left-hander.
Okay.
I'm ambidextrous and dyslexic, so directions are just whichever. People are like, oh, left is the one that forms an L. I'm like, they both form L's. Like, if I really focus, like, put one, and I can only see one at a time. Maybe I'm like, oh, okay, that's.
So in other words, we need to point.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I think that one of the big reasons we don't go south and we don't go east is that that's where that ruined town is, and there is just so much stuff that can hide in there. There may be like unspent, or what is it called, unexploded munitions in there, and all sorts of stuff like that. Like when I did my journey, I skirted around that area because there's so much in there that could potentially screw you up, and you don't want to if you're going alone, But yeah, it's the closed sight lines. It's the fact that there's a zillion places for things to hide. There may have been brigands that hold up there at one point.
No, that's a good idea. That at one point there were a dangerous set of bandits as well that were over there. Some of the few people that you contacted, you haven't heard from them in a while. So the procedure for this is we move into this new zone, and I'll put a quick freehand X on the zone into this one down here. And we start off with the stalker, and the stalker rolls find the path.
All right. And for me, find the path is with a 2 and a 4.
I'll come to that.
Still first, correct?
Skill first.
All right, and I have no gear for this. Two successes. And 2 potential wounds.
Okay. So 2 successes is great because you just need 1 success to essentially spot any potential threats. Now, here's the additional bonus is with that extra success, you can spend that in a few ways. You can ask if there's an artifact, and if there's an artifact, that there's one present, you can get pointed to it. You can find some bullets. You can find some contaminated rations. You can find some rot-free water. You can do it in half the time. Usually takes about 4 hours to move through a zone.
We do it in half the time.
Okay. 2 hours.
Question, Lowell, does Tula actually take damage from this roll, or is that only if she pushes?
Only if she pushes.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay. So you are very nervous in this area here. There's a lot of sort of the industrial park sort of buildings, but it's maybe an area that you guys know a little bit better. What's present here is a lot of great big oil cisterns that, high, that a lot of them have cracked open, and essentially there's just sludge that has formed and hardened out on the paths. You kind of walk around that because you can see where in some spaces there are just animal bones, where those have gotten hot and things have walked across it and gotten stuck. So it's like tar pits around here all over this space. But you know the area and you'll move through pretty quickly. It is blazingly hot right now. So you're kind of trying to catch the shade. Don't see any threats here. Nothing living around. You don't see any unusual phenomena. Don't see anything strange as you cut through that area. Now, we have marked on the map the Zontorn, which it looks to me like that's a skyscraper, right? That's what it sort of looks like. So I imagine that there is a big building over in that zone, so big that you can see it from here. Let me ask you this, Baldanders. People don't go there. Why? What is wrong with that building?
I think that building was a high security building back in the day, and it had a lot of automated defenses that still are in effect. So if people go too close, then it kind of triggers whatever the defenses of that building were.
So that's a great image of you guys moving along, and you're watching, and you'll see some of the zone crows in the distance, and you see them skirt too close to that skyscraper, and then you'll see flashes, and then you'll just see clouds of feathers falling to the ground below. What Tula, is people who have gone over there, that like there's a ring of dead things surrounding that building, anything that's gone close. So you make it through 2 hours. What is your reaction to all this when you go out into the zone, Jin?
Jin is excited. Her eyes will be darting everywhere, looking to see what she could possibly find that might be of use. And she probably is constantly like picking things up and putting them back down when it's not really what she thought it was. And I imagine her walking, and she's got to have cargo pants. There's just no other way about it. And she's got to have, her pockets are probably always packed with random stuff she picks up, like pieces of wire or whatever she can find. So she's excited. So she's probably more paying attention to the ground and what's around her immediately than looking for, like living dangers.
All right. So yeah, you doing the usual kind of hunt for scrap while you're out here and stuff. So yeah, let's say you will find a couple of interesting scrap bits as you're plugging around. At one point, you'll see kind of a brightly colored thing, kind of pull it out. Looks like some sort of weird purple bag. And when you kind of tug on it, it falls apart. But all of these little multi-shaped objects with numbers on them fall into your hands. And so you find this handful of dice that fall out of this rotted Crown Royal bag.
Nice. I also imagine like both the Enforcer and I, when she's like pulling on it and it's not coming free at first, like both of us like have our weapons ready to like clobber as some sort of animal that might surge out of it. But then it's just weird plastic bits.
Yeah, they make a really satisfying clacking sound when you roll them around in your hands there. So,
yeah, I have a machete also, kind of I think kind of in my hand, just knowing that we're going through this maybe kind of a little bit more densely forested terrain, or like if we're in Florida, there's like some thick areas. So that was one of the things I picked up. So I kind of imagine him always having that kind of in hand, like clearing the way a bit as we're going along.
Yeah, I imagine that there is, some kudzu here, but it's a lot of ruins and stuff. But it got that vine and vegetation that has grown over. Now, I assume you want to head diagonally, continue southeast from there. Does that seem like the logical direction to go?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't cross us into the Zontorn area.
Okay. Then we will move into the next area. More ruins that you have to move through. So again, we do find the path.
You're muted.
I was just lamenting that there's no reroll option.
No. And of course, your text goes away when you do it, so.
Wow.
Whoa! What the what? All right. That is
I don't know why
amazing.
she survived. She's damn lucky.
So this area is again more ruins. What do you want to spend your extra successes on? Artifact, bullets, rations, water, halftime. You've got 3 successes to spend.
All right, so I definitely want to do halftime again because that's, as Jen pointed out, time is of the essence.
Okay, so that's 2 hours there. Good.
I think I want to find an artifact, or have Jen find an artifact.
Okay.
And I can't take the same one twice, right?
No.
Okay. So I'm thinking water or bullets. Anybody have a preference?
I have 7 water. I don't know how everyone else is doing.
I stocked up on water, so unless you need it, I would say go for bullets because you can do more with them.
Yep.
And I have a gun.
All right, bullets. How many bullets do I find?
Roll a d6. One of the wonderful things in Mutant Year Zero is
4.
that because bullets are money, people are reluctant to shoot things.
Yeah.
And they make like cash register sounds when they do.
Yeah, that's a
So
fun.
I find 4 bullets. I think I'm just going to distribute them, 1 to each of us.
Yeah. Keep a second one for yourself.
Anders gets paid.
Yeah.
Anders is with us. He's an
Yeah.
NPC, but he still gets paid.
He likes it. He's very happy that you're paying him. As you are moving along, you will get to kind of a largish building in the middle, and you will see some of the tracks around that to you say zone ghoul. Just not a big group of them, but you see the bigger building that you're looking at, kind of one floor. It's got a lot of broken out glass, but it looks relatively intact. It's the kind of place that you like to explore because there's often good stuff in these places when they look this nice.
But zone ghouls.
But there are probably some zone ghouls in there.
So are zone ghouls zombies, or are they like some sort of regressed human, or what are they?
So you've probably seen some zone ghouls that aren't feral. They do try to avoid you. They avoid sunlight. They avoid light. But a lot of them are kind of rabid, feral eaters of flesh. They're not that strong. They're not that nasty. But they can be dangerous in big groups. You're guessing not a big group here, though.
Oh,
So,
so they're like ghouls from Fallout then.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. Or from the Omega Man.
Would any of us have fought or killed them before, or would we have all not actually been in an encounter with them before?
I guess you probably would have. They're a fairly common unpleasant feature. You probably would have fought them if a pack of them like came up and tried to break into the Ark.
So we know that they're dangerous, but within our
Yes.
means.
Yeah, definitely. And some of you know the zone. Zombies are the feral sort of ghouls are very easy to know. So, what do you want to do? You've made some good time here. Could be potentially stuff in there.
Tula views it as an unnecessary risk. But
Press onwards.
But if the engineer wants to salvage something, then then we can do that.
You can see that Jin's looking at the tower, biting her lip, thinking, "Yeah, there could be some good stuff in there."
So this is this smaller building. I mean, it's a bigger building in the center. It looks like it might have some good stuff in it to your eye.
Yeah, but I think, and she looks and she says, "No, let's," and sort of wrings her hands. She says, "No, we need to press on. We shouldn't get distracted."
I put my hand on your shoulder and I say, "We can come back here after Dink is better."
Yeah, that sounds great. I like that.
Okay. I'll just take this artifact card and I'll set this over here then.
Yeah, well, and as we walk away, she's looking over her shoulder longingly at the tower.
I'm just imagining this like low, like very, very quiet whine.
I picture her sort of mumbling to herself, saying, "This is the right thing to do. This is the right thing to do. I can get it later. I can get it later."
This is great. This is super fast. One of the nice things is once you've explored a zone, it's always half time to move back through it. So because you guys are wandering the streets, figuring out the paths, things like that, you'll move around, maybe see like a pair of glowing eyes from this building, from the zone ghouls, but they don't come out because it's sunlight out. They don't want to be out in it, and you will move on forward. Now, do you want to head directly to the east? Got that right this time. Or do you want to cut down to the southeast?
So where exactly are we trying to go?
You are trying to go here.
Oh, okay.
Dinging it on the map.
Okay, yeah.
So you can either go to this zone next or this zone next.
Do we know anything about the zones before we get there?
No.
Oh, so we've never been here.
No, this is unexplored territory for you.
Well, I think we would trust Tula, wouldn't we?
Tula. You're muted.
I would want to go to the coastline and use that to track across, because that seems like it would be, we have better sight lines doing it.
Yeah.
Only half of the approaches to us are obscured.
Perfect. So you'll move down into this area. It looks like, again, ruins. There are some cut-ins of troughs where there would be is some sluggish water in places. Again, let's have you do your find the path.
Is there a way to assist in this game?
If it was a second stalker in the group, they could.
Well, there is a second stalker in the group.
Well, but that's an NPC. He's fiction. He's the guy who's going to get killed first in the thing.
Yeah, he's extra hit points.
Pity the group that doesn't have the stalker when they do the zone.
Oh yeah, because there
I
are.
can't even imagine how bad that would go.
All right. So you have one success. Now you could push it.
And what type of damage do I take from this?
This is on your wits, right?
I'm rolling with agility.
Agility.
So yeah.
So it'd be agility damage.
Okay.
That can be healed with water.
Well, since we're flush with water, re-rolling. No change.
No change. All right.
I take the wound.
So this will now take longer. There's a lot of parts of this zone where things have collapsed and then gotten rotted over. The water here encourages that. So there are great big mold sections and kudzu sections that, Ballanders can cut for a while to get through some of this, but so much of it is overgrown and tangled. And it makes it slower. You want to push forward fast, but you're not going to.
Yeah, I think what we do is we'll go a couple blocks up from the water then, where things haven't subsided, and we'll go across the largest path there, even though that means more, types of dangers.
Sure. You will find a magnifying glass while you are here for your scrap this time. It's like one of those reading ones that you put down the paper and roll it along to see the big things.
There's a bunch of those in Florida.
Yeah, yes, there's a lot.
Ow.
It's very, very common.
Yes.
That's good.
You will come to an area where they've got that sort of sluggish, brackish water, and there's a bridge that is reasonably intact. You're sort of surprised by it being in decent shape, but something stops you as you move up, Tula. There's something odd here. Can I have you make a Know the Zone roll? If anyone else has Know the Zone, you may also roll.
So the bridge is going from where to where? Is it giving us sort of a shortcut to where we want to go?
Yeah, it looks like you could probably try and go down and cross the brackish water, or you could try and follow down and find another bridge. But this one looks like it's in decent shape and stable. But
And I do want to say that I do want to remind you that my special ability is Rot Finder. It's not the artifact one. It's the keeping people alive that are with me one.
oh, that's right. Now, and what does that do for you?
I don't remember.
I think it actually reduces the level of rot people suffer when they're with you. Take a look.
I hadn't gone into the zone yet, so I hadn't. I didn't want to slow down last session.
Sure. So one of the ways that you can use that is you can use one of your successes to reduce the potential rot that people take.
Okay.
So what'd you get?
I got one success and two potential wounds.
One success is enough. as you're kind of watching and moving around, and you tell them to kind of stop, you'll realize that the air looks odd. Like there's something about the way the light is hitting the bridge on it that it's odd. And you will kind of wait, and eventually you'll throw something into, onto the bridge, and you will see it. This is like a stone. You will see it heat up, and you kind of throw it. It goes in there, and pretty quickly it gets kind of white hot, and it will land there on the bridge itself, and it will glow like a coal there.
And Jin sort of perks up at this and says, "Oh, that's really interesting. Can we get closer to that?" She said, but a different question. Do we see that? Does this shimmer or whatever it is, does it go under the bridge?
Looks like it's just on top of the bridge.
So is this a big enough bridge that it might have like a walkway under the bridge for maintenance?
That seems reasonable.
So I think that's what Jin will propose. Maybe we can go under the bridge instead of walking on the main walkway.
And I suppose if there's some machine under there that's causing that effect, you'll have a chance to look at it.
That's a good idea. I wish I'd thought of that.
Baldanders would kind of like shake his head, like distrustful of whatever this thing is, but kind of go along with it, knowing that he's not kind of leading the group and trusting the two of you to be better able to figure it out. But he's definitely like looking around a lot and looking uncomfortable, like shifting around a bit.
That makes sense.
I'll say to Jin, I want you to lead, and I will be ready. And I have an arrow knocked as we're approaching.
And I think we're guessing it heats up a lot. So I'm thinking that maybe what Jim could do is like pull out a rag and wrap it around a stick or something like that, and put it on the end of the stick and put a little bit of the alcohol on it, so that if we get close to something that's like that, before we walk into it, it should ignite.
That sounds like a great plan.
Yeah.
So you will move along this walkway, move along carefully. You would expect to feel maybe some heat when you get close. No heat here. But you will realize that as you're on this walkway, that shimmer is not that far above you. You can, when you get close, you can kind of see it, because the air kind of warps like a little bit of a heat shimmer, and you'll walk underneath it. It certainly doesn't seem to go under the walkway. The walkway is, however, probably covered with ashes. You guess birds and other things that have flown into that. The ashes have fallen down here. And you'll move along. Jin, is there anything you want to do that would be reckless or interesting as you're going under here?
Or reckless? So you're saying, so we're under the walkway.
The walkway is going down, sort of down, under and beside, and you can see the shimmer comes out a little bit above where you're at.
Okay.
And so you're getting that ash down, but it's not down here on the walkway.
Well, I figure once we got to the edge of the bridge where we're just about to get off, she'd probably turn around and poke the stick at the shimmer to test it and see how it would react and how hot it might be.
Okay. So as soon as you put that in there, it goes up. And why don't you make a move roll for me for your reflexes here?
Okay. There's agility. Okay, and it goes skill stat again. I always have to, which because it always seems so backwards. Oh, I lost my my save, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Oh no, there it is. So skill first, and my skill is a 1. Yes, and my agility is a 4.
Ooh, you have good agility.
Yeah,
That will pay off right now.
What did 39 mean? Where'd that come from? Interesting.
There you go.
Perfect. So when it hits, you will sort of, as soon as you touch it in there, and what is it? Is it like a big stick?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You will realize that whatever is going on there when you touch this to it, the heat is conducting, and you let go very quickly because the whole thing that you're holding goes up like ash. Just, whew, and it is gone.
Wow, that was cool! That's awesome. The amount of energy in that. If we could harness this somehow, this would be intense.
I think that was rather hot, actually.
Bad pun time.
Yeah, Jin ignores it. Jin ignores Tula.
It is now, by the time you get to the other side of this, you're on the far side. You've been traveling. It is getting dusk. At this point, it's about to get dark. Generally, you don't want to enter a new zone at night. That is super dangerous. So I'm going to assume that you'll make camp here.
Under the bridge, where it's safe.
Or a little ways away, yeah.
I will actually ask the group. I say, this is extremely dangerous. At dusk, all sorts of predators come out. All sorts of things are active, start to become active that can hurt us. Do you want to risk it?
I think Baldander's isn't of all of you is at least like rushed about this. Like I don't think that he has the same concern that Jin has about Dink. So I don't think that he would have any desire to push it but he would go along if other people wanted to.
Well, and Jin's fascinated by the bridge, so she's probably gonna like balance that and decide that she'll stay with it. And if we camp here, then I picture her just through the night throwing various things into the field and watching what happens to it.
All right, so that's what she does during her watch. I say, all right, then we will sleep in the safety of the catwalk. Well, sorry, we call it a dog walk since we have dogs and not cats at the factory. We will sleep in the safety of that dog walk, and we will set out at first light.
So everybody, mark off a water and a food, and everybody is going to take 1 point of rot for the day, just from being out here, all the toxins and so on. The way this works is, if anyone has rot protection, has a suit that's a rot protection suit, you'll roll that many dice. And any 6s that you get will reduce the rot that you take. So if you get at least 1 6, you won't take any for the day.
So, for instance, Jin's gas mask, is that what would help?
Yes, that is. So you will just roll 3d6.
Okay.
Otherwise, for anybody who doesn't have a rot suit, you just mark down that you have 1 point of temporary rot.
How do we eventually get that off?
So what'll happen is when you go back to town, you'll roll to get that cleared. And it'll automatically clear, but there's a chance that some of it could become permanent.
Okay.
Now, everyone has taken a point of rot.
Yeah.
So everybody needs to roll.
So
Yep.
about that route finder, could I have used those extra successes? Like, we have not found the bullets, and instead we take less rot, or do you always take a rot when you're traveling through?
Well, you would have to do that sort of continuously across the travel. We'd have to have done it a couple of times to reduce it from essentially one rot to no
Zero.
rot.
Okay.
Does that seem okay?
I'll keep that in mind for the future.
Okay, yeah, and that's something I missed. But this is a good chance to explore that mechanic.
Yep.
When you do take a point of temporary rot, you roll a d6 for each rot point that you have. If you roll as a 1, then you take a point of physical damage.
That would be Jin.
Okay, so you reduce your strength by 1.
Do I reduce my strength or do I take 1 damage?
That's what it is. That's the same thing. Yeah, it's temporary strength.
So that means if I need to roll strength, then I roll 1 less die?
Roll 1 less die. You can heal that by eating additional food.
So, 2 questions, I guess. I had an additional mutation point from taking damage. Is that still around, or is that gone now?
Yep. Nope. Anytime you get additional mutation points, it stacks up. The top is 10.
And then if I eat an additional grub, I can heal that strength damage from.
Yep.
Okay, so I do that.
Okay. Essentially, it's you getting your strength back. It kind of wears you out, and you do that to fight against that.
I'm going to drink an additional water to clear my fatigue.
Okay. And since you're at camp, you're able to do that, get yourself set. And this is a safe camp. You can tell that animals and anything else intelligent, they don't come near this bridge. They stay well away.
And can we say that Jin figured out just the right distance to like heat food without scorching it? So
You actually have to,
meals?
yeah, you have to get something to conduct the heat that'll stay intact, and use it to essentially microwave some of your.
Well, I would definitely wanted to pick up a piece of rebar at some point, which I would have used I was planning to use as an arrow itself, but we can use that to heat our rations instead.
Yeah. It's weirdly luxurious to have a warm food.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially out on the trail.
Yeah. But the one thing you will notice about Anders as he's out here is he is remarkably uncurious. Like Baldanders, he doesn't want to have anything to do with the bridge. He just this is all that's going to kill you. He's pointing at things. That's poison. Don't lick that. Don't touch that. Don't put your foot there.
Bonding over on the side. Like just shaking our heads, seeing the other two like trying to like harness the power. We're just both like, what the fuck?
I sort of just like stoically hand things to Jin and let Jin do all that stuff.
So maybe that's what the rot really is for her. Maybe she like got slightly like burned a little bit, so she has sort of a sunburn from all her experiments.
Yep.
Nice.
That makes sense. The next morning, you will move into the zone that is supposed to hold the hospital. So, once again, this is where the stalker comes into their own. There's is the find the path to start us out.
So while we're setting out, you said this was a safe camp. Do I get to clear any confusion?
Yes. Since you got a safe camp and you were able to not have to essentially put heavy watches and things like that, yeah, you can clear confusion.
Both points or just one?
Let's say all, just for the heck of it, for this.
All right.
Because otherwise I'd have to look up the rule, and I don't want to.
That is fair. By now, I would actually know what these were. 2. Okay.
All right. You have 1 success. Do you wish to push it?
Yeah, I do.
Let's have you roll.
I got a wound.
Okay.
Oh, damn it.
So you will survey the area, moving along, and get up towards where the hospital is. And kind of looking around, trying to figure out what's going on. The hospital is like a 4-story building. You recognize sort of the Red Cross symbol that you've been told about. And as you're moving around, you'll probably have to pull yourself back more quickly than you wanted to, because you will see this beast. It's kind of walking on 4 legs. I mean, it's got a largish upper torso. It's sort of humanoid, but it's maybe about 6 feet at the shoulder. It has these enormous arms that are kind of twisted that it's using to kind of walk. So it's almost like a gorilla in terms of the way it's moving, but it is pale and hairless. You can see that it has places where there ought to be eyes, but they're kind of slit shut. It has great big mouth with teeth, and it looks like the hospital is its den. Why don't you make a know the zone?
I just envision me like grabbing Jin by the belt or by the collar and like pulling her into cover. I imagine the other ones will see this thing or hear it first and they'll be kind of cautious, but I imagine Jin is like looking at something else and I yank her into cover. Oh, okay.
And Andrew's just like, well, nope.
So how big is this thing?
So imagine that when it's kind of crouched down and moving, its shoulder is about six or so feet off the ground.
Wow.
So it's maybe 10 feet sort of tall. And it's like pretty muscly.
Yeah.
It kind of moves around, sniffs the air, and then kind of goes back into the hospital building.
I got 2 successes.
So this is what you guys technically call a devourer. It's pretty tough and sneaky.
Really?
Yeah, because it's not moving very loudly. If it moves up on you, in a straight up fight, it's a little bit less dangerous. If it sneaks up on you, that's the end. You don't want it to get, to ambush you. It knows how to use those claws and to grab people and pull them back. So how do you guys want to proceed?
So what does it eat? People? Anything?
Us.
It's an omnivore. Obviously it has a predilection for protein. So it will eat animals, moving things, stuff like that.
Frog legs are its favorite.
Oh no!
Did you actually say that? There goes all that goodwill between you and Anders.
I think it's one of those like buddy kind of.
He probably hops back a good 10 feet and he's like, nope.
Toughening each other up. That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Be critical of each other, right? Make each other tough. I think Jin would say, how smart are these things? Can we make a trap for it? Can we lure it?
they're pretty animal-like and instinctive.
So
No matter how smart it is, it has to eat.
right. It's probably always hungry. So, I mean, either we could use some of our grub to lure it, or one of us could act as bait. With
Oh, I
a
think
quick glance at Anders with that one.
Hey.
I think this sounds like a crybaby situation.
Yeah, fair enough.
Find me a good piece of metal, and I'll be the bait.
Well, we probably still have the rebar.
My plan is this, I say, kind of taking the rebar from your hand and sort of letting it suspend in the air in front of my hands. I say, I play injured. And when it comes out, I'll stick its foot to the pavement, and then we can rain hell and fire on it.
Anders goes, it's not me, so that sounds fine.
And if I think Bald Anders is like, and if it catches you before you can pin it, do you think you could stand up in a fight?
No, I don't. I have to rely on you.
Says, I'll be close by.
Well, and again, Jin looks at Anders and says, "You can jump away. Why wouldn't you be the better crying baby in this case? You should be able to get away from it."
You're absolutely right. I would be, but I'm not going to go do that.
I also think that considering how quick this creature might be and how it might get the drop on me, the better option is to hurt it or pin it when it comes for the bait, and not to rely on the bait to escape.
And there's nothing else we can hunt and use as bait instead of one of us.
I'm thinking most things that it would eat is already cleared out of here. Anders, do you know how to use this? I say, holding up my bow.
Oh, yeah. Pointy end goes in him.
Good. Then since the bow isn't going to do me any good at point blank range, I'll rely on you to shoot.
Okay. Now, conceivably, your gearhead could, as he suggested, try and jury rig some kind of trap. It would take some time, but you could certainly try and do that with the scrap that's around here and the things you have on you. Does that seem like something you want to do, sir?
Jin would want to probably, yeah, I think she probably would want to. Maybe we could find like an area that has a hole in it that we could cover up or something like that.
Okay.
And turn it into a pitfall.
Any sort of, especially if that's an area that it could approach us from behind. Like if that's a good ambush spot for the beast, that's exactly where we want to place the trap for it.
Okay.
So if it approaches from that angle, it'll fall in instead of eating my face off.
Mm-hmm.
So let's have you make your jury rig roll. You'll find a spot. Baldanders, in this spot, where are you setting yourself? What is a good perch that you're able to find?
So if there's kind of I'm imagining like a hole in the ground, like maybe kind of like an old pit had been dug, like a trash pit. So there's a bunch of dirt next to it and a big pile of trash. It looks like it was going to be buried, but whatever happened kind of before they were able to bury all of that trash. So there's a big pile of trash, a big pile of dirt, and then this pit that is there. And so I think that maybe I would be kind of in the midst, if there's near the edge where you can't quite see me from where the pit would be, but I would be able to get it right out. Maybe there's a car where I'm kind of in the behind the door of the car so I can see out, but I'm kind of obfuscated.
And I'm going to say, because you guys aren't sneaking up to the building, I'm not making stealth checks on that. Doesn't seem like you guys need to do that. You're far enough away, kind of setting that up. All right. So, Jin, with what you've got there, with just the work that you've done, it will essentially, this trap will allow you guys to act first before it can attack. That's what it'll do. Now you could push it to see if you could do some additional things. Extra successes have additional effects.
Just a suggestion. We have all this alcohol. Could we make like a Molotov cocktail kind of thing, or would that be a separate jury rig?
That'd be a kind of a different jury rig he would have to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. I'm trying to figure out what are my odds of pushing this that it's going to be better?
You've got
very
1,
high.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dice that could roll 6s.
Yes, and you have none of your skills that already have successes. So that means those.
Well, no, the 1 won't reroll on the green die.
Oh, the one. Okay. You have 2 from there that you could reroll where you won't get a wound. So that's.
But there's only
you gotta
4
factor
dice
that
that could
in.
give you wounds.
Yeah, see, this isn't sounding very good to me. So I think I'll just go with what I've got.
All right.
Yeah, but think about it this way: if you don't do this, there's a very good chance I'll get wounds.
And at least this wound is what, wit or intellect, and then the wounds you'll be getting will be physical, so it won't be the same pool.
Okay, so let's say one of you proposes something, and Jin says, "Okay, yeah, maybe I can make this a little more lethal."
Okay.
Oh wow! So that means I didn't take any wounds, right?
Exactly. You get another success.
Okay.
Do you want this success to do some damage, reduce its combat effectiveness, or reduce its armor?
Oh, so the combat effectiveness would make it less likely to
When
attack.
When it goes to attack you, it will roll a little bit less.
Okay, I'll do that one. Let's say whatever we're doing, I can make a tangle trap so it gets entangled.
Okay, that sounds good.
I have rope, so we could kind of do that.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you use that, can kind of set that up. And Jin, I know where Baldander's is when all of this shit goes down. I know sort of where Tula is, on the other side of the pit, getting ready to do the fake out. And where are you positioned when that happens?
Jin is going to be hidden somewhere, probably off to the side, around a corner. Probably, maybe the trigger is not directly by the devourer, but like pulling like a string or something like that she's got tied to a stick that's holding something. I don't know. But she'll be. Actually, I guess it would be a trap that she wouldn't have to be involved in. So she'll be off to the side a little bit, but it should be a good angle so that she can use her gun to take a shot at it. Okay. So maybe she has to get up higher for that.
Yeah, a little bit of short range, so you're a little bit out, so you can target it. Sounds good. So this is still a risky thing. You guys have this set up, and it kind of relies on you, Tula, to lure it in.
Yep.
I was thinking, know the zone, for you kind of
That
know
works.
how to call it in, knowing about it. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes. So here's the approach from the fiction.
Perfect.
She's going to take her utility knife and poke herself in one of her veins a little bit in order to get some blood going, and she's going to use the piece of rebar like a cane. And so she's dripping blood and making this very like awkward shuffling thing that's like, I'm clearly wounded, and then I will fall and have the rebar make a really loud noise, like clang, 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 clang. And I'm not going to have like the baseball bat or any of my rations or stuff or maybe I'll have some empty ration cans and they'll go clattering as well. And that'll be what'll draw it. So it's got blood and like this clearly helpless victim sound.
Awesome. All right. Let's have you make that roll. You just need one success for this to go off correctly.
I got one. So is there any additional thing that would happen if I rolled higher or no?
We could translate that into an advantage.
No, I think we already have that. And most of the dice I already have 1 wound, and I have 3 dice that could give me wounds. So no, I'm not going to push it.
So you will do that. And Tula, you're kind of used to this because you know. But for you, Baldanders and Jin, when it shows up, it hasn't made any noise, and you're surprised. And it's kind of moving along, and it moves, and it darts from place to place, and it gets into position, and then it does that rush. Pardon?
Yeah.
Does that rush?
It goes to strike me from an angle that I can't see it right.
Mm-hmm. And it hits that pit, and it kind of goes down, and that rope kind of tangles around it, and you guys have 1 good shot to act before this thing can do anything. Baldanders, you have been waiting for this.
Yeah.
You've been in position. What do you do?
So I'm going to be melee attacking, so I just didn't know if we would do ranged attacks first, or if you want me to run on in.
No, you can run on in.
Okay.
Essentially, in the game, technically, they do it. You would roll on an initiative roll, but I just want to. I think for this round, we'll do that.
So he has his axe kind of ready, and kind of charges in, and I think that the hole's like just deep enough that like the head is kind of like just like kind of up out of the hole, so it's kind of like I'm swinging down at it like chopping wood kind of thing. Like it's like so just as a question, I can spend an MP to take an additional attack.
Yep.
But it doesn't say if I have to say that before I attack or not. So
they don't, for mutation points, they're very loose about people using them because there's still some risk to them. So you can declare afterwards.
Okay. So then let me I'll roll fight. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So
about to see how dangerous combat is, guys. Because
and
while he's doing that, when I use the pistol, does that give me an equipment?
Yeah, it gives you an additional die to shoot, and it does 1 damage. So you roll a gear die for that.
Sorry, it's skill stat gear, right?
Skill stat gear.
Yes, skill stat and gear.
And were you using your shovel? Yeah, were you using shovel or your baseball bat or whatever else?
I'm using my axe.
Oh, so axe has a bonus, plus 1.
Exactly.
Okay,
so you add that as a gear die.
Yeah, well, the machete has a higher gear bonus. It's 2d6, but it's lower damage. So I'm going to go with the axe, which is higher damage. So we have 1 success.
1 success.
Do
you wish to push it?
I feel like it. It seems like appropriate right now. And then additional success would be additional damage or what?
You can do it for additional damage or translate that into other effects. Typically, with this first shot, you're going to want to do it for damage.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and push.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's 2 successes and a wound. You didn't get a 1 on your gear die, so that doesn't break. So how much damage base does the axe do?
It is +3. I'm not sure what is that what you're asking?
Yeah, that's how much it does. So it does 3 damage.
Okay.
So it does 3. You got an extra success, so it'll do 4.
I see.
Okay. So that will hit it, and you will bury that into it. Okay. But it is not down.
Okay.
What we'll do is, if you want to take an extra action, I'll resolve everybody else's actions first, and then if you want to spend to do the extra one, you can do that. How does that sound?
That sounds fine.
Okay. Jin, you want to take a shot at this thing?
Oh, definitely. She's like she's sticking out her tongue, focusing on
so you can do a maneuver here because you got some room and some time to aim to give yourself an extra skill die when you go to shoot.
Oh, okay. Then sure. What does that cost me, or why can I do that?
It costs you nothing. Essentially, it's basically if you don't move, if you're set in place and bracing yourself,
cool.
you get the extra die.
Excellent.
Yeah, so like you're kneeling and you've got like one hand like on the windowsill and everything.
It's like the worst roll. So I don't take any damage, but if I push this, I'm going to take a minimum of 2 damage, correct?
That is correct.
And it will be since I'm using agility, then it's going to be to my agility.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. On the other hand,
Not a
you've
great pick.
already spent the bullet.
Oh, yeah, I have already spent the bullet. That's right. I'll go for it.
Okay.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So you take 2 agility damage. Essentially, you kind of stress yourself out, take that shot, and probably slide a little bit as you do, and the shot goes wide.
Okay. Damn. And I forgot. So when I had taken rot damage, but that was to strength.
That was to strength.
And then we slept, so could theoretically I have spent grub to get rid of that?
Yep, absolutely. If you spent the grub, you could do that.
Yeah, then I'll have done that just to catching up on that.
All right. So
and 1 bullet less. Okay.
now we come to you, Tula. What do you want to do?
So, my plan was basically to roll and do go to a kneeling position and then throw the piece of straightened rebar like a javelin, and then use my mutation thing to drive it through the thing's leg. There, it's
all right, and
preferably through front leg, but I'm just aiming at the meaty sections of it, really.
Sure. And this is the magnetics, right?
Yes, this is the human magnet.
Okay. And do you have the details on it, or should I look that up for you?
I do not have any details on it.
Okay. So let's look at the human magnet.
And I can push metal away or bring metal towards me, but other than that, I don't know what it does. I assume that I can make this javelin go faster, further.
You can throw this, and you will do 1 point of damage for every mutation point you spend. However, each mutation point that you spend means you have to roll a die to see if it goes kind of loopy.
Mayhem. Okay.
Mayhem. But that could be good, could be bad.
This is sort of what she's been prepped for, and this thing would be really dangerous if it gets into melee with us.
That's true.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I'll spend 4 mutation points.
That's what I want to hear. Wow. All right. So that will puncture its armor and go into it, provided that the haywire doesn't go terribly, terribly wrong. Why don't you roll me 4d6? Tell me if you get any ones.
I got A1 and 3 4s.
Okay. Now, so something went goofy with your power.
Mm-hmm.
Roll a d6. A 4. So you use it, but you can feel yourself tap yourself out. You're not going to be able to use this power again this session.
Yeah, that's fair.
But just tell me where it goes. Where does it? I mean, because you do a lot of damage to it, right through its armor.
I think I was aiming at its front leg to keep it from coming up and out. I think what happened instead was it caught it in the liver and is now it went through the pavement, through its body, and now it's kind of hanging. It's through its body and through the other side, and it's sort of impaled and caught now on the pavement.
And it's moving. It's this.
And they're staggered
into
all over.
It. Oh yeah, it's horrible. Valdanders, the thing's not dead yet. Do you want to use your enhanced reflexes?
So the alternative would be first round, a new round. We would roll initiative for
roll initiative and see who goes first.
Then
its agility has not been reduced, so it's full agility initiative.
I would go ahead and make another swing. So so you want me to roll d6? Yep,
you roll a d6. As long as you don't get a 1, your mutation goes off fine. Look at that.
All right.
And then I roll your attack.
MYZ. So is my strength took a damage, and is my strength dice now 4d6 instead of 5d6? Is that what I understood?
Yes.
And so Frog Boy doesn't get to make a shot because he's an NPC.
That's right.
They really are.
You could use
NPCs really are just completely useless.
Well, I mean, you could technically ask for him to like give you a support bonus, something like that.
Or we could push him in
Okay.
front of the monster.
Yes, or you could push him in front of the monster. All right.
One success.
Do you want to push that?
Now that I'm seeing that like my strength diminishing also reduces my combat effectiveness, I think that and also the fact that the 3 damage is it's like the increments aren't as that great. So I think I'm going to let it ride.
Okay.
Also, because knowing that I have a rot point, so I can boost my initiative in combat if I need to do that. So.
Perfect. So you will hit it and cut into it, and it is gravely wounded, but it is still up. And you bury essentially axe. And what does it look like when you do that sort of fast second action?
Yeah. So I think the first blow kind of went in deep into its neck area, and then the shot went wide, and then the rebar kind of pierced it. And so I think while all that was happening, he was like reaching back for his second blow, and kind of like as it went into the liver, he kind of reared back, and the second axe blow kind of like went into like the chest area, kind of like and pulled out, and like I could kind of hear a broken like rib bone, and he kind of kind of is pulling the axe back out at this point.
And you are clearly its focus now, because you are visible. You're close by. You've sunk that axe twice into it. We're going to roll initiative. Everybody roll a d6 and add it to whatever your current agility is.
Woohoo! I got a 9.
Got a 9. So I'm going to count. I'm going to start doing the countdown then. Okay. 10, 9.
Yeah.
The monster goes. Let's dice off.
Is there any bonus for this, or
Nope, this is just a straight.
Oh, I guess to go first.
All right. It is going to turn and try and strike at you, Beldander.
Okay.
So this is the first time I've had a roll. So now I got to go look up the syntax. Okay. Okay. Here. And that is, and the nice thing, of course, is that it does not get any re-rolls, because it can't push it. Oh, that's because I didn't put the exclamation point at the front.
Oh, that's not good.
Oh, it's better. Your roll got better.
So it will swing to hit you, and it contacts you hard, and it's going to do 3 points of damage to you. Do you have any armor?
We established that I don't. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
didn't know if you bought any. Okay.
it wasn't on the list, so I
Yeah.
didn't see it as an option. I think you have to craft it.
Yeah. So it hits you for 3.
So I do have the ability to dodge to reduce by 1 if I spend a rot point or a mutation
Okay.
point. So I'll do that.
Okay.
So
Just roll a d6.
So you take a rot point and spend a mutation point, and
I'm
then
sorry.
you dodge it?
I said rot point, but I meant mutation point.
Mutation point, okay.
So you reduce that by 1. So you only take 2 points of damage, which is still, I mean, that's a hefty hit as he knocks into you. Tula, you see that. You see this thing spin around and bring this great meaty claw and hit into him. What do you do, Tula?
Oh, since its head's turned, and I have a I don't actually have like fight now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, I do have fight. What's the die bonus for the baseball bat?
The die bonus for the baseball bat is 2. 2 gear dice, and it does 1 damage.
You know what? I've got a good shot at the back of its freaking head because it's a beast. It's gonna turn its head just at what it's swinging at.
Roll it.
Yeah. So, and it's down at my knees. Yeah, I'm just gonna be like, whammo.
Couple of axe strikes, gunshot, got the rebar in it. It spun.
I have an explosion. Oh, that's a break, isn't it?
That'll be a yeah. So if you push it, your baseball bat is going to go down by 1 die.
Yeah, fuck it.
That's what I want to hear.
Oh,
And nada.
So you go to swing at it and kind of land it wide, but you hear the crack as the bat kind of gives a little bit in your hand. So it's only a gear bonus of 1 die from now on.
Yeah. I mean,
8.
I actually even imagine it like I send it straight where I want to, but it's actually armored there, and there's just this. I'm like, oh, I just sort of like go, oh man.
It is still up and moving. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 4.
Wait, Christo was 5.
Jen, yeah,
Oh,
Jen has
Crystal's 5. Okay,
Yep.
What are you doing?
So she's going to take another shot, and that gets her. She's in position, so that gives her a +1 to
To the
Which
shoot
was it?
roll. Yep.
to the shoot roll. Okay. Man, I can't hit this. We're outside of a barn. Yeah. Okay. Well, if I push it, I'm not going to take any damage. Oh, well, I might take damage if I get a bad roll.
Yep.
Right.
Just you've got 2 dice out of 5 that could possibly damage you.
That's a 1 in 3 chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Look at that.
Yeah. So she calms herself and takes a shot.
This thing is on its last legs. Where do you shoot it that puts it down?
I want to say that it's turned sort of away from me and that I actually managed to shoot it through the ear.
Perfect. You kind of got it vulnerable. And we saw that Beldander's kind of hit it, drew its attention. It spun around, still got that rebar in it that probably caught and pulling. And as it gets its head, you will do that, and boom.
And I want to say,
shot.
Sorry, Baldanders, I want to say that the blood and guts go all over you.
It's just it, and it will collapse down into this pit, kind of slumps down, and
it slides off the roof.
Slides.
Ew.
So yeah, it is dead, and you guys can catch your breaths and get yourself out. Let's sort of shorthand this end part of it, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah, most importantly, is it good eating?
Yeah, I was going to ask that also. Everything.
Do you have
anything with the right sauce, right?
There are some advantages that you can get that will allow you to do that. Okay, the zone cook and things. So you will be able to get go into the building, get the medicines. You'll find some extra stuff. So here's where I draw from the artifact pile. Let me see here. Okay. Okay. So you will find the following extra artifacts. And you can just note these down and we can divvy them up in the future.
Okay.
The chainsaw that you passed on earlier.
It's back.
A tuxedo in good condition. Why would you ask about that? Because it actually adds to your manipulation, because you look sharp in it.
If you wear it with the chainsaw.
Yes. And then painkillers, which are a very nice healing item.
How many of them are there? The painkillers?
Painkillers, a D6 doses.
So we're choosing between these, or they?
You found all three of these things.
Oh, okay.
There are 4 doses of painkillers.
4 doses of painkillers. And we can divvy these out next time, okay?
Yep. I'm writing it down on my sheet right now and indicating them with 2 question marks to show that they haven't been distributed yet.
Perfect. We're going to shorthand. You guys find this, get the stuff, go through, and make your way back to town. You can, I'm going to be generous and let you clear your temporary rot points. Normally, I would have you roll dice to see if they stuck around permanently.
Does Endure help at all with that, or no?
No, I don't think Endure helps with that.
And when do we get a new mutation in this game?
So a new mutation, if you roll a 1 when you mess up your mutation check, then you'll get a new mutation and permanently reduce one of your stats.
Ouch. So didn't Tula roll a 1?
I did, but I didn't
you roll a 1 to see if it goes off, and then a roll 1 to see what happens.
Okay.
And did we burn through grub and water on the way back?
Let's be generous and say no.
Oh, thank you.
Because we have all that devourer meat with us.
Yes. You can eat of its flesh and drink its blood, or whatever. On that.
Snacking on its heart.
Yes. What I want to do is do the quick experience points calculation, because there's the end of session questions. I want to walk through those, get Eeps on here. Max, we are playing again in 2 weeks, and then the week after, you're welcome to join us again, regardless of how many people we have. So if you can make it for either of those sessions, you're welcome to.
I think that I can make it for the final session. The 2-week session is not. I don't think I can make that date.
Okay. Well, please, we'll loop you in on those, because it'd be great to have you back.
Appreciate it. I think I waitlisted myself for the 4th session.
Okay.
No, I like to do that.
Did you participate in the session? If you did, you get an experience point.
Yay!
Did you perform a day's work for a project in the Ark? If you did, you get a point. Did you explore at least one new sector in the zone? Yes, you get a point. Did you sacrifice or risk something for your PC buddy? That's definitely for Jin.
Yeah, I definitely. I'm worried that I'll disappoint Jin, and yeah.
That sounds good. Who's your PC buddy, would you say?
I took Tula. I said Tula fought by my side, so I was the first to run in, to try to get the monster's attention. So
yeah, that's perfect, because you did take some hit.
Yeah, you and I are working the 2-man con.
Yeah.
Did you sacrifice or risk something for the NPC you want to keep safe?
I'm trying to protect Bossmar a lot, so that's why I did this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm actually going to give all of you a point, because essentially you are effectively going out, risking yourselves to help all the NPCs in the village.
Yeah.
Did you sacrifice or risk something to mess with the NPC you hate?
No.
No.
Okay. Did you sacrifice or risk something to reach your big dream?
No. My big dream is to build rather than destroy, so I don't think, other than like the fact that we were trying to improve the arc, but I think it was kind of indirect
Yeah. I think
Did
we'll hold
did
off
you
on that.
take a wound for that though?
I mean, only in the sense that the reason that I was doing it was to build up the arc. Like that was like my justification for the. But I think it's a little distant. I'm okay with not taking
We'll hold on that one. Next time we'll check. If you have 5 experience points, you get to spend that to raise a skill or buy a new talent.
Yeah. Cool.
Is that cool with everybody?
Yeah.
Works for me.
Question about the character sheet.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for the rot points, experience points, and mutation points, is 0 the first one?
Looks like it.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. If we play it that way, then I'll bump everything up by 1.
Yeah. Well, he let us clear our rot points.
Yeah.
Right, but we can't really clear them. Right?
Well, I think the first slot is 0. It just doesn't have any number.
So yeah,
That's the
your
only
rot
thing that makes
points
sense.
0.
It's a little odd for them to have done it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, well, I have 6 experience points. Woohoo!
You get to buy something. I'll put together a list, print out to a file the talents, and I'll put that in the folder.
And is there any benefit to not spending it now and trying to get more?
No.
Okay.
No, you always want to spend as soon as you get hit 5.
Yeah. I'm at 5, so I'll be happy to spend them next time.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to stop that recording. All right. Well, I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you guys very much. This is the sort of the zone hex crawl part of this game. It's all randomly generated stuff in the zone. There's scrap and things and artifacts, and it's kind of amusing. And it's nasty. In early days, it's really nasty. The thing that got my players is the first time people pushed it, they did really, really well. So after that, they thought they could, and it was terrible for the rest of that.
Yeah.
All right, thank Max. It was great to play with you.
Yeah, it was great playing with you.
I really want to play with you again. Looking forward to that.
Definitely.
River, Chris, always a pleasure. I'm going to stop the recording on this side.